Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Land Tamer stream. Great to have you. It is now Tuesday night. We are doing our study thing, getting ready for a session that I'm going to do on QoS. But let me bring up the agenda for what we're talking about this evening, guys. And the chat window, in case anybody wants to chat. I was just chatting with some people in Discord. One of them happens to be one of the developers for Eve, NG. Talking about different images, so a lot of good conversation going on there. Good stuff. Got some good people in there. Great people, actually. Yeah, having a little win. As you can see here, guys, I'm going to explain this in a minute. I'm having window piling up issues due to what I've been working on today. But here's chat window. Here's the agenda. Let's talk about first. This is the new SpaceX Falcon 9 Block 5 rocket, reusable rocket. It's supposed to launch, I think, this week, actually. Some satellite launches. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks really slick. You see the return fins there. This looks cool. Can't wait for that. So anyway, let's get to networking stuff. So the Spanish language experiment. Something I've tried for, I don't know. I've been doing it over maybe a week and a half. I've done it maybe between 7 and 10 streams. I'm not sure exactly. There isn't a lot of interest in that yet. So I think I'm going to postpone that for a while. I might do them on occasion. I may do this later when I get back to labbing. I'm not sure. There's definitely a future, I think, for me in the Spanish language and streaming and or who knows. My wife was saying, when you retire, you should do some tutoring in Spanish. Maybe you can teach networking in Spanish. Maybe so. I don't know if I'll ever retire, but if I do, it's always an option there. I learned Spanish as it's a second language. It has come in handy in a lot of scenarios in my personal life, some in my career, not much, to be honest. Hasn't really helped me in my career that much. But it's been great knowing the language and being able to interact with people, especially traveling, things like that. Here in Florida, it's helped me a few times. But it's kind of an add-on at this stage. And I thought, well, let me see if I can help reach out to some community members. I have met a couple of people who their primary language is Spanish, and there are a couple of people in Router Gods, actually. And I think some of them even joined the Discord here. But other than that, there has not been a lot of interaction like there has been with the English language content. So maybe I didn't give it enough of an opportunity to try to promote it. But the thing is that doing the Spanish now takes extra time when vlogging. And right now, I'm feeling the pressure, 33 days, so really got to watch my time. So maybe after the written is done and passed, we'll experiment with this some more. But for the moment, I'm gonna postpone that. I'm still gonna participate in a couple of forums I'm in that are Spanish language, just to keep my Spanish up, etc. But anyway, that's the story on that. Getting to the written study. Yesterday, I attempted to do the entire drill sheet. You've seen it, guys, if you've been on stream here. As show IP interface brief commented yesterday, the thing is growing, and it is. It really has grown. It's going to grow some more after tonight. But I struggled on these new sections. I was able to fill out a lot of everything else. I even caught an error on one of these, but basically I downloaded this last night after the stream, and I went through the whole thing best as I could, and I did okay. There's some areas that were unclear, and I may do this again tonight. Probably though won't be able to until tomorrow before I attempt this again. But again, we're going to add some areas here besides the pseudo wire FEC element and HRP detail information. I think I got some of this down practicing that. But this is good stuff. Really good stuff. So I did that, and that took a good bit of time, actually. 30, 45 minutes or so after the stream. Then I just really only had time to do a couple of boson questions. I didn't have time to go deep into anything. So I did that, and with the boson now configured to throw questions that I have not seen before, or theoretically have not seen in a while, I hit some things that I was not expecting. Again, I'm still hitting a lot of those. So some of those are MAC address access control list. There was some information there I did not have correct. Some more was frame relay and inverse ARP, and some information there about addressing. Got to study on that a little bit. IP cache flow. And the thing about IP cache flow is the usage of hexadecimal numeration, right? And I'm not good at that. Like, I already know if I see, I think 0050, that is port 80. But I can't really rely on that going into the exam. I need to brush up on at least, even if I'm not really fast, being able to convert hex numbers. Even if I have to do it on paper, that's fine. But I need to review that, and that's going to be a to-do before in 33 days. What I really want to focus on, though, tonight is shaping and policing, QoS, shaping and policing, for a lot of reasons. Not only have I struggled with this in some of the boson stuff. Hey, Mentora, what's up, man? Glad I made the stream. Yeah, glad to have you here, my friend. Good to have you. Also, Mentor, if you ever inclined, I don't know if you saw last night, but I actually am doing audio through Discord. I've got audio channels, so great to have you here, though, in text. Now we can do text or voice chatting in the stream, but yeah, glad to have you back, my friend. Hope you're doing well this Tuesday night. We got through Monday, we got through Tuesday, right? We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so... But yeah, in regards to QoS shaping and policing, I did some thorough reading last month, and I think made some good progress. But I'm on the struggle bus right now because for the exam, I know that I need to be able to do some interpretation of configuration. Like, they'll show a class map, policy map, service policy command, and basically you need to be able to interpret what the configuration is doing, like what the queuing is set up for, the bandwidth amounts and percentages. So that I struggle on right now. And it's really pertinent for me right now because I'm working on, well, I'm not the part of the main initiative for something that we're doing at work, but there is an interest in, or there are people working on, other people. I'm kind of in the periphery, but I want to be more involved and I want to be able to contribute more. But there's a project going on right now that is related to Nexus and shaping and policing. I've been able to contribute somewhat. It's funny, one of my coworkers told me, yeah, I know where you're at right now, Quentin. I know exactly where you're at. You're learning all these things and you just want to jump right in. And that is so true, and it has been a little frustrating because I need to know this better, I just need to be patient, continue to learn to the level I need to, especially for the written. And what I started to do today is listen, during my lunch break, I started a video, Cisco Live. I forget where I got information or what cued me to this, but I think there was a link I found, or someone pointed out a link about, check out the Cisco Live on-demand content. And I found some really good past sessions. When I say past, I say as of this year. There's some, they do a really good job on that, staying very current in the Cisco Live on-demand content. And I'll show you. You see all these windows here? This is where I'm at, folks. I've got windows beyond windows. I've got links that I've found, and I had to just finally close a bunch of them today. I'm not going to get to those. I'm not even going to be able to read them. These were links I was going to use for the as me chunks. But I found some very good Cisco Live content. Definitely memorized the must for the exam. Great work, my friend. On the worksheet growing. Yeah, it is growing significantly. Yeah, it takes a while to fill out now. I used to fill it out in just a few minutes. Now I have to plan out, okay, I'm going to sit down, download this, fill out the whole, attempt to fill out the whole thing. That's like at least a 30-minute, at least at this rate, because there are a lot of new areas. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I think it'll be a good tool. I think it's really going to help me in the end. So yeah, I found one from Cisco Live Melbourne 2018. I guess that was what? April, May. Yeah, so not just a couple of months ago. Really good presentation. I'm going through this one part way. This one is BKR CRS 2501. This is overall sort of QoS design. And this was another one, BRK DCT 3346. This is data center, I think. Okay, 2501, campus QoS design simplified. This one I need. I also need the Nexus. So I need to, and here's mastering data center QoS. That's something one of the commentators said, or one of the presenters said right away. Well, QoS, why do you need QoS on the Nexus? Why do you need it in the data center? There are a lot of good reasons why you need QoS in the data center. We're seeing one now. And people are working on that, right? And yes, there are a good bit of capabilities. What I learned today, which I did not know, not today, was it today or yesterday? I learned that the Cisco Nexus does not, or at least the Nexus 9K, doesn't support NBAR. So obviously NBAR is more for the edge. It's more for, remote office, branch office kind of scenarios, PFR, things like that. But I just didn't know that. And obviously you're going to see a lot of differences in QoS between different platforms. But of course, one really cool thing on Nexus, and I think the commentator said, or the presenter, that for QoS, it's handled in hardware by virtually every platform. He mentioned one platform where 90% of NBAR is handled in hardware. Only 10% of it is not. But of course, everything else was. So that's a great thing to know about, QoS in Cisco products. And, it was a really good presentation. I will link it when I'm done with these and mention it probably tomorrow. But this one is really good, BRK CRS 2501. It's not super long. A lot of these are sessions, which this is really good prep for Cisco Live, because I'm hearing him ask questions. And, one thing they said that I had to remember is, oftentimes when they asked, are there any questions? The first person in this session who raised their hand and asked a question and got called on got a free book. So, point taken, noted. I'm not shy about asking questions at conferences, and I try not to be too ridiculous with it. People get annoyed right in the crowd if there's one person asking a whole bunch of questions. But I sincerely am so curious oftentimes about these things, and I want to know more and want to take the opportunity to interact with a presenter, that sometimes I get carried away. But I'm going to at least try to get some of those books. That'll be awesome. But he talked about the need for it in the enterprise and in data centers and on the Nexus platform, of course. Yeah, Mentor, the only stupid ones are the ones. That's right, man. That's what I always say. Of course, I've always been the nerd sitting in the front of the class. History, chemistry, first or second row to get closest to the teacher. And anyway, I'm a nerd. But that's okay. I am perfectly okay with being a nerd. Nerds rule, right? Nerds rule the world. In most cases. But this is, I'm really looking forward. I'm just probably going to sit back tonight, folks, and go through each of these. Not each of these, because they're long. They're an hour and a half each. 90 minutes generally. But I'm going to finish Campus QoS, Design Simplified. And then I might go through Mastering Data Center QoS. And who knows, it could be that tomorrow night, Nerve for Life, that's right. It could be that I reached the level with Quas where I have to, I've done a good bit of reading. I've looked at quite a few videos, and it may just be that we do have to lab. Again, I've been trying to avoid labbing before the written just due to time. But sometimes something is not really going to stick until you get your hands dirty, right? So we may get to that point, and if so, that will be happening tomorrow. Shaping and policing. And I just confirmed, Redfish is in our Discord, one of the devs of EvenG, that, the Nexus 9K image from Viral works great. So, I should be able to definitely lab some things in EvenG on the Nexus 9K image, play with some QoS there. Mentor asks, how has the boson Q&A going? It's gone well. I'll say the last time I took it, which was Sunday, I did fail. It was only by a couple of questions, and I think it was due to the fact that boson, I have it set to try to each time use new questions. I didn't have that set before, and I would see a lot of the questions over and over. Now I'm starting to see some things that are kind of, I guess, more corner cases, which is good. Like I talked about IP cache flow, MAC address ACL. I struggle with that. Frame relay and inverse ARP. I was actually shocked to see that in there. I do believe frame relay technologies are they covered in the blueprint? I know it's not in the written. That was one of the major upgrades with, I think 5.0. But I got a frame relay. Let's see if this is in here. Kind of took me by surprise. It's like frame relay. You're kidding, right? Hey, is Corral plus 9. Frame is not on the blue, but that doesn't mean Cisco won't ask about it. Or both on one. You know what I think it was? It was actually, that's a good point. Use random, mentors is definitely use random questions, go over all the questions, cover all the material and blueprint, just suggestion. Yeah, good stuff, guys. I think what that may be is Corral is it was actually also related to reverse, reverse ARP. Or inverse ARP, I should say. Is that on here? I know ARP is. Identified, troubled, okay. Interesting, so there's just 3, 1A, 2 is ARP. So I guess it could be covered under there. Exactly, I guess I could see them using, ask about the ARP flavors. I think that's exactly what it was. I think it was related to, how did this interface get its address? Something like that. And it was a reverse ARP, inverse ARP. There were a couple other options, but I need to review. Obviously, I need to review that a little more. But that's going to give me. That might give me a little bit of extra preparation. For the written. I don't foresee a lot of questions on ARP. I'm getting to the point, 33 days, where I have to kind of pick and choose a little bit. And so I've got it on the to-do. I am going to at least review that in summary. Like I mentioned, the IP cache flow, that is a matter of really what this is about is hexadecimal conversions. And I haven't done that in so long that I need to just review that, because I know that if I see 0050 that is 80, that's HTTP, right? So I need to work on that as well. I got a couple things here in chat. EvenG, you can use labs, Unix 3 to create and configure frame relay as well. Okay. Old technology mainly used in poor countries, still using serial WAN interfaces, right? Yeah, agreed. My last job, I still had a couple of clients that were not yet on Ethernet, and they had voice and data on, but agreed, yeah. I'm sure a lot of providers are trying to get people, at least in the USA, all their customers off that stuff. I'm sure. But yeah, I've got the 70. Well, as far as when I was studying for the CCNP, it was a lot of frame relay, or actually CCNA. I did do some labs with frame relay. I even had on real gear. I had some old Cisco 1700 series routers with T1 interfaces because I didn't have enough Ethernet interfaces. But I would actually built some of my own cables, the T1 crossover cables, so I could cross connect. I remember those days. Good times. So I should remember some of this stuff, but I'm not sure. So in EvenG and on the images we have, I do have the 7200 series router images, I think. And that'll allow me to add T1 cards in a lab. Yeah, indeed, only Dynamips Images IRL support serials and FR. Yeah, so I have Dynamips images, an image I can use if I felt the need to. But hopefully I don't have to do that, folks, because, again, this should only be covered in the written. And when they revise it again, I would imagine even in the written it may not be covered. But I would hate to have to lab any of that again to get it in my head. But if I have to, I will. Did the boson exam say that an interface was getting its address from inverse ARP? It did. GNS3, you can definitely do frame, but not with viral images, right? Those serial leaks for whatever reason. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so I don't plan on having to lab any of that. I just need to review it again. And man, I'll probably go back to my TCP/IP book. I love that TCP/IP book, guys. I don't know what, and I don't have it listed in the books that I've read because this is when I first started for the CCIE. TCP, it's not TCP/IP Volume 1 and 2. It's EIP, Internet Working with TCP/IP. This, guys, I'll just say, I read this book, Douglas Comer, one of my networking heroes. This book is so good. Like, I read it like a novel. I was telling my study group in Nashville, this is going back just a little over 3 years. Just when I started, you watch the Brian McGann INE video, and he says, first read these vendor-independent books, read all of these, and then read all of these Cisco press books. So, boom, boom, boom. I'm actually glad I did this, though. I read this book, and man, it was such a good read, and I thought, I kept hitting my head like, you're such an idiot, There's so much you did not know and have not been using all these years if you called yourself a network engineer. But I highly recommend this, guys. If you never read this, do yourself a favor. Take a week off, go to the beach, take this book. You'll fall in love with this book. It is so good. It was riveting to me. Like I was not just learning, but I was actually entertained. And not because he's funny, but because the book is just, I couldn't put it down. It was like rediscovering networking again. Really good stuff. Anyway, you can see it's expensive. This is not, I do not believe, on Safari Books Online. Let me double check that, guys. Let's see. Indeed, only for sure, labs will start when you have to train yourself for T-shoot. Probably the most hardest part due to time limit and a lot of tickets. Agreed. Yeah, I've heard. And T-shoots when you're going to know pretty quickly whether you pass or not, right? It's not. Thank you, Iscarel Post. Hey, Divizzle, man, I had this book for 3 years and still haven't finished it. This book, I enjoyed it so much. And it was updated. Let's see, what edition? I think there's like the 6th edition. I'm trying to think why I don't have this book anymore. I think I may have traded a book with someone else. Oh yeah, this book is so good. Yeah, troubleshooting section. So the troubleshooting section, right? For those who are not aware yet, the CCIE lab exam is composed of 3 parts. the troubleshooting, the diag or diagnostic section, and then the config or configuration section. So I think troubleshooting is an hour and a half, and diag is 30 minutes, but you can use, and then I think the config section is 5.5 hours. They do give you 30 minutes to use at your own discretion. Like, you can go back and use 30 more minutes on the troubleshooting section, or you can say, depending on how you're doing, you can just say, I'm going to use that time during the configuration section. So, but yeah, T-Shoot is where a lot of people just bite it, so to speak. The Bizlaw, I'd highly encourage you to read this book, man. It is really good. I was just really impressed by it. I also read from cover to cover TCP/IP Volume 1. Yeah, man, a really good book. TCP. And I revert back to this. I got to figure out what I did with this book. TCP/IP Illustrated. This is in Safari Books Online, and obviously Google Play. Oh, that's cheap. $7.99, guys. If you don't have this book, you don't have Safari. This is really good. I've referred back to, that's not it. I've referred back to this book a number of times. I still have this hardcover book here in my shelf over here. Mentor says, yes, T-Shoot troubleshooting definitely made me stumble. Ate up all my time in the lab exam. Yeah. And it's intimidating, right? I mean, they hit you with that first, all the tickets, and then you know, there's a scoring system on the tickets. Like, some tickets are worth, because you can jump around on that, right? And you've got some are worth 2, some are worth 4, some are worth 8. Definitely challenging from what I've heard. Again, I've not taken it myself yet. So yeah, on the mentors, you got your digits still at it. Yeah, so on shaping and policing, we're gonna hit that. You know, I need to have that aha moment. I need to have that conceptual, boom, I got this moment on those two. I made some progress, on that, but boson has showed me that I'm still weak. So we're gonna use the see less topics and work on that for the rest of tonight. Meat chunks. Got a couple good meat chunks. This was given to me by. This was posted in Discord earlier today. You all know what it is. If you're in Discord, you know the chat room network link bucket. Show IP interface brief posted this because we've been talking a lot in the chat with some people who are currently working in service provider or for multinational service provider. And I've worked in some of these very large data centers and lots of customers. And they've really been helping me out with some of the technologies. I've been asking a lot of questions about VPLS. I've been asking about ELAN services. You know, kind of what are the use cases? Why would anyone ever do a layer 2 ELAN service? And I've got some really good responses, actually. It's been very helpful. So he posted this article. I think this will be good. This is actually looks pretty recent. Multinational service providers and BGP. So I plan to read through that. And then Chris Sanders had this today on Colorizing conventions and Wireshark. We all love us some juicy Wireshark goodness. And this is definitely some of that. It's not too long. I've never really paid a lot of attention to the colors. But again, it's just another powerful part of Wireshark, simple but powerful tool that you can use to help you get through the mire, right? Good stuff. Those are a couple of meat chunks. Let's see here. We get a little chat. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate all the regular study for AWS. Okay. As next year. Yeah, that clock is ticking, right? Whenever you get that, whether it's, you know, you're trying to get the CCI written and your CCNP is on a clock, or you've passed the written and your written is on a clock, Cisco's always got a clock running on you. That's for sure. Yeah, it's interesting too. It's tough. You mentioned mentors about AWS, and we all have our own personal sort of study path and certification path. It doesn't always align with our employer 100%. I know I have typically been unaligned or misaligned with employers on what I want to do and what they want me to do, or what they would like me to learn more about. So right now, for example, I'm dealing a lot. I'm doing a lot of work with we have a cloud team or multiple cloud teams, but I'm on one of the cloud teams, and starting to dip my feet in there and learn Azure, and there's some AWS in the mix as well. But I'm tempted to spend time at night to learn some of that stuff. But I've just got my own. It's hard. I know where you're going there, Mentora, or mentors. Okay, yeah, same situation here in the new job position. Yeah, you're trying to get ramped up and contribute to the team, and you also, want to learn it. It's not just that it's there and it's part of your job, but it's another cool piece of technology that you want to dig into and learn. And I want to learn scripting in Azure, and I've been tempted to sidetrack a little bit on that. Of course, I'm on a countdown now, 33 days, but and at some point I may need to mix in some of that in the evenings or lunch breaks to address a certain need. But I try to use what I can in my work time just for that stuff that they want. But that's just me. Everybody's different. We all have different initiatives and demands. But I certainly understand. Know exactly what you're saying. But yeah, that's going to wrap up the stream then, folks. Thanks so much for stopping in. And great to have everybody in the chat, see the community, chatting and talking and focusing on networking. You folks are here. I know a lot of you come into the chat, you hang out on the stream, and it's evening, right? This is your personal time. But you're here because you're interested in networking, and you're working towards that goal, and that inspires me too. So let's get at it, folks. Whether you're labbing, learning, working on design project or coding, doing some network programmability, whatever the case may be, testing. Wish you the best. Hope you get the good bits. Sending you only the good bits. The properly formed CRC check passes. Only sending you those frames, all right? Glad I had some free time for it to catch up on with the community. Me too, man. Glad you guys are stopping in. And thanks so much. Appreciate all the support, guys. If you haven't yet, you probably have. Follow me here on Twitter. On Twitch. Click that little heart button. And if you happen to have a free Twitch Prime account that you haven't used, for example, Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch Prime. You get one free sub a month. Hit me up with sub, support stream. Might get us some more goodies here. Tech goodies for the quality stream. But thanks so much for hanging out, and we shall see you all back here tomorrow, same time, here on the Land Tamer stream. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Discord.